ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another season of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione, hosted by Formula Racing League and sponsored by SimGrid Racing. I hope you can hear me well. My name is Alex. I mean, you can hear me well, but I have a bit of a cold, so I might sound a bit more nasal than I used to sound. But I'm very happy to be your commentator again for this season, this race in specific for now. And in a few moments we will head out to the qualifying already. We can see all the cars in the pits at the moment. There are some 36 cars in two different classes, the amateurs and the pro drivers, that are racing two completely different races. We are in Kyalami today, a track in South Africa that is 4.5 kilometers long with 16 corners and an elevation change of over 100 meters from the top of the track in corner number 10 down to corner number 2. Yeah, no, I'm just waiting for everybody to return to the pits and the server to reset for the qualifying. First we will have 12 minutes of qualifying of the amateur drivers, and then afterwards we will have the pro drivers qualifying. Yeah, as you can see, it's raining. Quite warm. We have a track temperature of 26 degrees and an outside temperature of 23 degrees. And as far as I can see in the weather prediction, at least for now in the free practice, the weather might still change for the qualifying, but to be fair, I think it is just gonna stay raining. Yeah, the weather is not gonna change in the next half an hour as far as I'm concerned. Oh, and just as I say that, the weather resets to a dry track, and we'll see who will be the first driver out on track. I'll just have to reset this quickly. So for now, it looks like car number 21 is the first car on track, and that is, who is that? Let me see. There we are, Afonso Migliore, one of the new names that we will be seeing here, or new names for me, because some of the drivers have not taken part in the last seasons. So there's some new names that I can practice pronouncing, which is always a fun challenge. Let me know in the chat if you have any questions, or if you have audio troubles, or I'm too quiet, or generally you cannot hear the cars loud enough. Maybe we switch to the TV cam so the cars are a bit quieter and you don't hear this helicopter sound in the background all the time. So yeah, we have some familiar names this season, we have some new people, and I think we will have 8 races. I'm not even sure about the complete amount of races. This is just thrown into the mix. Let me just check very quickly. There we are. Actually, yeah, it is 8 races planned. This week we are in Kyalami, next week we will be on Silverstone, and then the week after, in November, we will be on Watkins Glen. This race is a 60-minute race with a fixed refueling time and 1 mandatory pit stop. And I will bring up the times for you in just a second. So now you should be able to see some timing. There we are, like this. Interesting, just a few weeks of off season and immediately I'm a bit out of practice. So yeah, Migliore at the moment the first person on track, now coming up into turn number 10, Loikop, or at least that's how I pronounce it. Is a little bit of a difficult braking zone because we're going, basically the cars are going uphill, they're getting a bit light on the back, and then you go immediately into this downhill section that is the mine shaft into turn number 13, the crocodiles. Also another very difficult braking zone, because it's kind of, you know, you can see it roughly in the perspective we just had here. You tend to drift out quite wide, and then a lot of people misjudge the braking points because there's no very obvious markers. I mean, you can find some on the side of the road, but it's not not the easiest corner. So this lap of Migliore was not a valid lap. Yes, it was not a valid lap, which is okay. But we're just gonna jump to Pacini, Federico Pacini, also one of the new drivers this season. We just set the quickest lap for now. Very provisional quickest lap with a 1 minute 42.632. Just for the reference, the top 8 car average on Kyalami is about 1 minute 39.4. That is for the absolute top pro drivers. If you're looking at very competitive times, that's 1 minute 40. A good time, a 102% time would be 1 minute 41.40. Just as an example to kind of give you an overview. Something important to mention are the red and the white number plates. These they show two different classes, which will not be racing against each other in this race. I mean, they are all on the same track, but these are two different races. The current P2 is Andrea Cimini, also from Italy. I think we had a lot of fresh Italian drivers joining us for this season. Dario Brems, currently in P3. Jakub Drnka in P4 that just got pushed out of his position by Jake Deschamps. And then we have Nicolas Muggia, who we will follow along. This livery looks a lot like the livery that Max Verstappen had on the Nürburgring a few weeks ago. I think it is intentional. So that was P7 for Smuggia. I still see a lot of green numbers here. Migliore also with almost 8/10, almost 9/10 now on the clock. Coming up into this little uphill section. Actually, little uphill section, yeah. Before I mentioned it's over 100 meters of an elevation change during the race, and now I'm saying it's a little uphill section. Going to take a little peek onto my notes here. As far as I can see, in the amateur drivers, we don't have any of the winners of last season. Yeah, no, the winners of last season. P1 was Biswas, in P2 was Janssens, and in P3 was Griffith. And I don't think I can see the names here. No. But what I can see is that Migliore just jumped into P2 with that lap. Now let's take a look at Tom Ferrier. Also almost 9/10 on the clock, which would put him into, yeah, roughly P3 or P4. Also this season with a new livery. I still have to give my award of the best livery to someone today. I just made this up. I didn't do it before, but I kind of like to take a look at the artworks there. So Ferrier, exactly as I said before, jumped into P4. Derek Cole into P12 at the moment. Jake Deschamps with a bit of improvement possible as well. Would put him, would save him the position in P10, within the top 10. Sorry. That should be 6 or 7. Yeah, and that is P6 for Jake Deschamps. So Lee Roll, also a driver that I've seen last season already. Still finding a lot of time up to Loikop. Here the BMW, in my experience, a bit difficult on the acceleration because it is going downhill, and then the rear of the car likes to step out a little bit. Still 9/10. That would only be 14. I think he was a bit wide there, a bit wider than I would have expected on the exit. So there's about 2 more minutes of qualifying left for the M drivers. Hey Dambaroni. Dambaroni TV, good to see you in the chat. Yeah, and that is P15. Don't forget to like and share the stream if you enjoy it, for the algorithm. There's still some improvement possible here. Dario Brems will gain a position, 2 positions even, into P3. And there's Tom Ferrier also coming in. Should put him into... Oh no, he's only halfway. He's only halfway across the track. A lot of things can happen. Still, what I can see, Pacini quite confidently in the lead already. And we have Cimini in P2. And Dario Brems just returned to pit, I see. Jake Deschamps in P4, Migliore in P5. So Gover, yeah, there we have him. He's in the pits already, P18 at the moment, your brother. So as you can see on the bottom of your screen, the pro drivers are already heading out on track now, or they're lining up in the pit lane. There's Simon Bragg still. He might... Yeah, he will not finish this lap. Muja now also on his last lap, but still with the... Oh no, there's Jake Deschamps here. That is the most interesting driver to watch at the moment. Almost half a second of improvement possible, and that would put him... this half a second would put him into P1 now. That looks very much like P1 for Jake Deschamps, basically at the end of the qualifying. Good job. Very good job. Hi, Todesgarde. 57, that is Dario Brems. Now we have the pro drivers on track. I think most of the AMP drivers are in the pits already. Now there's still... Let's still take a look at Tom Ferrier, because he will still finish this lap. 4/10 of improvement. That could give him P4. Actually, at the moment it looks more like P3. Wow. So the more seasoned amateur drivers Yeah. That is P3 for Tom Ferrier. Now let me see who's the first one of the pro drivers that is going to set a lap. Sometimes it's a bit difficult to tell from the track map which car is in front. So the 406 Ivanov, who generally every time I've seen him drive, he has put up an astounding show. Oh, what happened here? We wanted to stay with Ivanov. There we are. This very nasty sausage curb, the yellow sausage curb in, what is it, T15, that already costs a lot of lives, or a lot of, well, let's say, car damage. Or emotional damage as well. I mean, if you hit this curb, it's quite difficult to recover the car. So we got some yellow flags here. What's happening? Okay. We got a bit of a traffic jam before the start-finish straight. So Panosha now on track. What we could see very clearly there with Panosha is that after turn 2, so the turns 3, 4 and 5 are very, like, it's very difficult to stay within the track limits there in some places, and also the line is not the easiest, just because it is going uphill, and you kind of you really have to you have to adjust your braking so you can carry as much speed as possible into the straight between Barbecue and Sunset. Barbecue being the very quick and long right-hander there. So let's maybe take a look at, let's finish this lap with Panosha first. You can already see that Whitburn jumped into P1. So Panosha jumps into P10, and we're gonna take a look at Whitburn here. Rainbow Sparkles Racing. Well, that livery is definitely fitting. To be fair, I was talking about the best livery price that I would hand out, and I'm fairly sure it's that one. I'm already a big fan of this rainbow unicorn on the side. So in the pro drivers we have some of the actually one of the P3s of the last season. So Veltman, who was the winner of the last season, is taking part in this season again. Also we have Kassetarash. I'm not sure if Kassetarash was actually Kassetarash was P3. So Kassetarash, I show you the car for Formula Racing League. Hi Tom, good to see you in the chat. And I think we also have Janssens here, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, not in this race. So for now, Ivanov jumps into P1. And Whitburn just counters him. Then we have Knoppik there. Tomasz Knoppik, half a second lower than Whitburn. Yeah, but 1 minute 40.8 is quite a solid time. I need to say that. And something that I have just noticed. It's gonna rain in half an hour. It is going to rain in half an hour, and the track is still fast, so it's not in the best position. Yep, Tom, I've seen you. I have seen you take P3. I think it was in the last minutes of the qualifying. So we're still waiting for a time from Eckering, Andrei Bacek, Stuart Pryor, Stu Rogers. Oh, there's actually a lot. Griffith, Mate, and Beasters still need to set a time. But for now, I'm very happy to see Ivanov and Knopek actually, because I really enjoyed seeing them racing in the last 2 seasons. And then to have Whitburn just jumping ahead into P1, I bet it is going to be an interesting race. Especially looking at the fact that in half an hour we're gonna have some rain. Very interesting. Oh, someone is trying to hype you up for winning the race. So Pryor is... I thought he just set a lap time, but he did not. Stu Rogers also set a lap time, and is just losing the car. And I bet it was exactly the curb that I mentioned earlier, the curb in turn 15 that unsettled the car there for a little bit. Now Panosha here also 3/10 of improvement. It looks like P1 to 5 are currently taking a bit of a resting lap. So 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the qualifying session, and then we will jump into the 60-minute race on Kyalami here in South Africa. On the left side of your screen you can see the times. You can also see that Kasetaras and Eckering, the 2 white number plates that you have there in P10 and P11, that they're stuck a little bit within the M drivers. But I bet this will settle very soon after the start, because they're not technically racing each other. It's 2 different classes racing 2 different races today. Just for new viewers that might have joined us, it is going to be a 60-minute race with a mandatory pit stop in between. The refueling time is fixed for 25 seconds, and the tire change can be done but doesn't have to be done. But I think in 60 minutes of racing it makes sense for most of the drivers to change the tires. So Kapi made here at the moment with 3 seconds of improvement. That should put him still somewhere within the M drivers. And Kapimate jumps into P8. Wow. My calculations were wrong, but I'm also very bad at making instant calculations, so... who are we gonna take a look at? We're gonna take a look at Bafasori. Even though just now... Oh, actually, Kasetaras is a bit more interesting, because he will come in with 3/10 of improvement also, and that at least takes him. I mean, it takes him into P8 and also takes him out of the M drivers, which can always be a bit tricky. So then Knopek coming in. That should be 2 for Knopek now. Ah no, he just crossed the start-finish line, sorry. Yeah, maybe let's stay with Eckering here, because I think he's still fighting to skip the 2 more positions out of the M drivers into P10, but he is missing at least 2/10 and is currently... he's still within that limit. Maybe let me just... I'm not gonna play around with it, but next time I can change the screen settings so you can actually see the deltas of the drivers. I think that is a little bit more entertaining for the qualifying sessions. I just forgot about it this time. So the qualifying session is done. So it is Whitburn in P1, Ivanov in P2, Knopek in P3, Nico Weltmann in P4, Panosha in P5, and I think this situation with Eckering is also... it's a bit mean to call it solved, but not going to be an improvement in the lap time there. Weltmann maybe just about to gain 1 more position. Yeah, that could be... No, that's all. Yeah, that could be... No. So, alright, the qualifying session is done. And let's wait for the server to reset. And I am especially excited to see what the weather is gonna do. Because in the practice session... I think in the end of practice session it was raining a little bit already. The qualifying session showed rain in half an hour. And yeah, let's see what happens. Rain generally makes the races much more interesting, and here we are. Yeah, wet conditions ahead, and we set the hello game. Where are you? There you are. Wonderful. Yeah, for now it looks like more rain in 10 minutes, less rain in half an hour. 1 hour race, 1 mandatory pit stop. Yeah, I think everybody will just start on rain tires now. There's not much of a tactical change to be done, but I assume that drivers might stay out for as long as they can, in case the rain forecast says, "Look, guys, it's gonna be dry again at the end of the race." There we are. I'm in the wrong tab. And there we are. Okay, so we have Whitburn, who I see racing today for the first time. And P1, then we have on the right side, on the right column, or for us on the left column. If you look at it from the front, of course it is the left column. But we have Grigory Ivanov, and I'm just gonna switch to the helicopter cam. Then in the left lane, now I think it's a bit more easy to understand. We have Tomasz Knopek, then behind him Weltmann on the second car on the right lane. Then we have Andrej Bacek in the right column, the car number 1. Then we have Panosha, the blue, what is it, Ferrari there. Then we have Favasori, the first name I butchered this season, in P7, Cassetarash in P8, Capimade in P9, Jake Deschamps in P10, Pacini in P11. That is the bright yellowish car there. Then we have Eckering, one of the pro drivers, in P12, Tom Ferrier in P13, Jakub Trnka in 14. Andrea Cimini in P15. Dario Brems, the pink bluish BMW there, in P16. Alfonso Maiore in P17. Antonio Castelli in P18. Stuart Pryor in P19. Carvajeri in P20. Vincenzo Conti in P21. And we have Nicolas Muggia in P22. Adriano Cataldo in P23. Simon Bragg in P24. Stu Rogers in P25. There's two of the pro drivers stuck a little bit in the back here. Eric Griffith in P16. Derek Cole in P27. Lee Roll, that is the blue and black BMW there, in P28. Thomas Wong in P29. Tano Raymond in P30. What was I just saying? 21. Thomas Wong is P29. Raymond is P30. Then we have growers here in the Ford in P31. Justin Baker, or Justin B. Baker, in P32. And then we have Petty Jonathan in P33. So we're gonna jump ahead to the leaders now. More rain in 10 minutes, less rain in 30 minutes. 23 degrees outside temperature and a track temperature of 27 degrees here in Kyalami. And the drivers are probably fighting to get their tires warm a little bit for this rainy situation. And I will just take the usual pictures of the starting situation for later reference right now, and then we'll head into this 1 hour race on this very wet track in Kyalami here. I'm a bit afraid that Ivanov is struggling with his internet again. I see him jump around a little bit too much for my liking, but I think it is going to be fine. I wish it is going to be fine, as the drivers are coming down this downhill section here, up from the top, and we are getting ready to launch this race. Organizers Formula Racing League just reached 10,000 followers on SimGrid. I think that is worth mentioning, and they're sponsored by Simnet Racing. They have a very interesting online shop where you can buy sim racing gear, so go and check that out. And the drivers are now taking the last turn. Something looks a bit off with the positioning at the moment, or I'm just confused why Ivanov is still in the front. As we're getting ready to start, there's Ivanov way ahead in front of the grid, and then the other two drivers behind him. And the lights turn green. It's French, they're heading 3 wide into turn 1. Ivanov now back into P. Ah, there we are. Sorry, it was Tomasz Knopek that immediately went ahead and is in P2 now. Ivanov behind him. I think there was some issue with the starting positions. Then Andrei Pacek in P5. There's a bit of shuffling going on in the back here. You can see them 2 wide. Now coming up the quick right-hander, Sunset and Cavalieri gained one position here. Rogers passed Griffith. This is what I can see for now. There's a yellow flag for Dario Brems, which is quite trying to catch him here. Who is sorting himself in the end of the grid. Jake Deschamps the same, somewhere off track. In the front, Whitburn as predicted in front, Knoppik from P3 into P2, Ivanov in P3 now, and Bacek just passed Veltman, both of them still fighting here. It is the wet conditions that make Veltman struggle there. Right, that was a how do you call it? Lightning. A little bit of a lightning strike there, so maybe we can take a look into the cockpit of Andrei Bacek here, just to see how bad the rain is. Yeah, they don't see anything at the moment. So if you're following someone close behind, that is very difficult in these conditions. As you can see, we're on board now with Nico Veltman at the moment, who is 2/10 behind Cacetaraj. That is tricky driving in tricky conditions. I think we are going to change perspective again. It's just a bit simpler to see this from the outside. That was Ivanov there losing a position, and Andrei Bacek now in P3. The Lexus, this one here. We're gonna take a look at the mid-pack here. A little tight train formed with growers here. Behind the drivers, Beasters, Griffith and Rogers, the pro drivers, so the three cars in front are pro drivers. Knoppik here putting some pressure onto Whitburn already. That looks a bit like a crash here. Just gonna go back 30 seconds and we are looking at Conferier, the black car here coming into this downhill section at the mineshaft turn number 12. And let's see what happened here in the braking zone. I'm gonna switch to the helicam. Okay, just maybe a little bit late on the braking, and then a tap from the back, and that sends both of them off. I think the other one was Vavasori, I'm not sure about it, to be honest. Knoppik with the quickest lap at the moment, 1 minute 49.1. So he is gaining on Whitburn in P1. Veltman also close behind Panoscia. Probably also with the patience to just see what happens here in this situation into this uphill braking zone. Let's maybe take a look. Very difficult to not be on the throttle too early, so the rear of the car steps out, but I think this went fine for now. Veltman a bit unfortunate in the first laps. I don't know if he was pushed in the beginning of the race. There's another yellow flag with Gimini. Probably it kind of looks like a similar situation. That's what I said earlier, that turn 13, the Crocodiles, is quite a difficult braking zone, because you also you have to be quite on the left of the track, and people tend to people tend to misunderstand the space that you need to leave there, or the line that you let me structure my thoughts for a second. The line that you have to take into that corner opens a space for your opponent to try to dive in. That usually goes wrong, but I think we've seen that twice already today. Let's take another look at this tight racing here. In the back, the yellow car is Pacini, in the front is Capimate, and then there's Penosha. In the front, the blue and the red Ferrari. Just a little update from the gaps in the front while we were watching this fight. It looks like Knoppek is now falling back a little bit behind Whitburn. Or maybe there was just a little hiccup in the beginning of the race. Now Veltman there, also off track. Gonna go with P10 Eckering. That is the rear car of this little train here. Eckering and Veltman side by side. Eckering on the inside line. Let's see if the Audi of Veltman can hold on to that lead before the sunset corner. No, it does not look like that. There is something off with the setup, I would assume, of Veltman, because I've seen him drop back 6 positions now. I think he started in P4. So the winner of the last championship, struggling in the rain. Now from the lap times that I can see, Ivanov seems to be quicker than Andrei Bacek. We have one car already coming into the pits. That is Griffith. Maybe with damage, or maybe with the wrong tires. The current leader of the M drivers is Federico Baccini, and then 2 positions behind him is Jakub Ternka, and then another position behind him is Migliore in P3, Alfonso Migliore. We are looking at Barney Govers. And it looks like the BMW of Brems is damaged a little bit. You can see that the front of his, how do you call it in English? The motor cover is a bit damaged. And there you can see it That gap is not supposed to be that big. Usually when you see this damage, that also tells you something about your top speed. Oh, that is some tight racing. I don't know who it is that is off track there. Whoa. On the wet grass. Yeah, I think it was Thomas Wong. It looked like Thomas Wong there. Whoa, that was the curb. That was the sausage curb I mentioned earlier. Some tight racing going on here, and Nico Weltman in the middle of all of it. So now we do actually have the leaders of the M category together. We have Pacini, we have Trtka behind him, and we have Migliore there. Eckering with a yellow flag and with a bit of a mishap. It was just for 1 second that we had the M drivers together there. I am a bit confused how this 10-second gap between Knoppek and Casseterasch happened. Oh, Ivanov massively gaining time there due to a mistake from Casseterasch. And that looks like... Yeah, that looked like someone disconnected for a second, and I think it is Casseterasch. Sorry, Ivanov, that we were just following in the car. Sliding through sunset. Rogers also here in the pink AMG, hunting down Castelli, one of the M drivers that maybe will let him pass now on the straight. So the rain is really mixing things up, unsurprisingly. Yeah, what a beginning of a season. Rain, Kyalami, more rain, less rain. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Well, I mean, as a commentator and as a viewer, that might be interesting. As a driver, you're actually, I mean, I think in these conditions you are suffering, because that really requires full focus, not to crash and actually see what you're doing. We're jumping to Nico Weltman because he's closer behind Capi Mate now. The battle for P7. Coming up into one of these treacherous short braking zones here. Trying to avoid the curbs. in the wet. I'm quite sure about that. This uphill braking zone here, and coming down into mineshaft. And now we can actually take a look at the braking zone into the crocodiles. What I mentioned before, taking the line very wide on the outside, and there's always this threat of being dived on the inside, on the right side. Now this quick height right-hander here with a nasty sausage curve in the middle. And that was basically a lap on Kyalami. And he got a little bit wide there into the last turn. Generally, at least from sorry, it's always screaming in my ear when I'm in the passenger camera. Generally from my experience, especially in these uphill sections, it's super difficult to carry enough speed. Like now especially on this straight after turn 5 barbecue towards sunset. If in this uphill braking zone, if you brake too much and you lose too much momentum, you're one of these beautiful words that I always struggle with, inevitably you are inevitably going to struggle on the straight. It didn't make sense what I said. So apparently Ivanov passed Knopek. Past Kasseterash, but he's still kind of glitching in and out of position. Ooh, tricky. So his position might actually be in another place and not in P3. We'll see about that later. We have another crash. O'Delly here. Sorry, Donnelly. Let's go 15 seconds back. That was not enough to see what actually happened there. But to me that looks like losing the car in sunset into this quick right-hander. And then spinning it into the wall. These are things that happen. Donnelly now massively losing time. Rogers sliding across the track. This is true rain weather fashion here. Maybe that was the little bump in the road there in mineshaft. Yeah, that kind of looked at it. Yeah, that's the rain, that's the slidey weather. Mate now catching up to Panosha in P6. After 20 minutes of racing. So in about 10 minutes we will see the first drivers coming in for their pit stops. It does not look like it is going to stop raining within the next 30 minutes. Take a look at Gowers here behind Thomas Wong. Trying to show himself in the mirror there on the inside. And that seemed like it actually worked, so now they're heading side by side down into mineshaft, and there's Thomas Wong off again, which is something that we've seen there before. I just want to see if there was Thomas Wong, if there was some contact there, but I don't believe there was. This is what I mentioned earlier, that on top of the hill it is difficult to make sure that the rear of the car doesn't step out, especially here. If you're too early on the throttle, the car automatically starts to slide. But what happened there, it just it seemed more like he just drove on straight into the barrier. I am confusion. Now we have the 3 P1 until P3, so the podium of the M drivers we have together. Pacini currently P1, Trnka P2 with 3.5 seconds behind Pacini, and then we have Migliore there, quite close behind Trnka. It seems like Veltman passed Kyalami in the last minutes and is now behind Panosha. Wong and Govers both in the pits again. Let's see what happened here to Govers. It is this corner after mineshaft in the wet. You have to be careful there. Yeah, Veltman is fighting his way back. Let me see, 3 positions lost. Fighting back in the rain. A bit of struggles with the car in the beginning of the race, from my interpretation of it. Up. And on the outside is well, that's like 2 seconds of damage, no? Frustrating. Just straight up frustrating. And again, our M drivers are split. The podium of the M drivers. Hey Tom, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. AI. So the first driver coming into the pit is Kyalami. Then we can take a look at the standing times later. Thomas Bacek here in P5. Slowly but steadily hunting down Kosetarash, the only Formula Racing League driver on the grid. Sorry, the only Formula Racing League team driver on the grid, to be precise. I see, Tom. I see. Someone is glitching in and out of the server again. That is messing up my standing. And third guy in the wall as well. Let's see what happened there. Yeah, it's sunset again, isn't it? And there goes the rear place and trying to not bother other drivers. Very respectful. I like that. Oh yeah, we're starting to get into the pit season. Is it called the pit season? Bacek has the best car, you're saying, Tom? Ah, the Lexus. Just taking a look at my BOP sheet here. Cheat sheet. It's not even on it, no? I missed to put the Lexus on my BOP cheat sheet. Ah. So just I take a mental image of Knopek 3 seconds behind Whitburn before the pit stops. Ivanov, hey, Vacek is doing donuts on the gravel. That seems to be a very tricky corner there, uphill. Tom, you might be wrong. They actually added and bobbed all the cars now, at least from when I looked earlier. They just gave all the older cars like minus 30 kilograms or something like that. At least that's what's written in the BOP on the BOP page. What was I doing? Ah yeah, Knopek in P2 before the pit stops. 3.6 seconds of a gap. Ivanov with 15.7 seconds in P3. Cassetarash in P4. And things are jumping around again. No, that's clear. Okay. Cassetarash in P4. Vacek in P5. Panosha in P6. And then the leaders of the AM drivers, Pacini in P1. Fiore in P2, Tom Ferrier in P3, then we have Vavasori in P10, Stuart Pryor in P11, Cavalieri, no, that was correct, in P12, which is P4 of the M drivers, Shimini in P5 of the M drivers. Veldman in the pits at the moment, and we have Jakub Tyrka with a stop and go 30 penalty. Well, exciting things are happening. And these three, Conti, Bragg and Cimini, they're quite tight together. It seems like the blue cars are drawn to each other. Maybe in another shot in a few seconds we will see them. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 blue cars. Wow! And if I see that correctly, Conti and Cimini are driving the same livery. Team Soto Sterzo. Conti doesn't have it written in his profile, but that looks quite. Hello, the cameraman seemed to be asleep there. So Bragg, Conti and Jimmy now try. I was just about to say that Cimini is losing a bit more time than the other two, but it was just in this braking zone, so... Everything is changing all the time. Actually something that we can observe in the next minutes. I assume that Bisters will go to the pits a bit earlier because he is now technically stuck behind all the AM drivers there. So kind of it would make sense to at least try the undercut. And I still see green lap times. So the times are still improving. Sorry, I just had to cough a little bit. Actually, the times seem to improve massively because almost everybody is driving green times now. So yeah, this is what I said earlier. Pister's now behind the AM drivers, and that would have been his chance to go to the pits. But then maybe again they will let him pass on the straight now. Apparently not. Now you can also see now from this helicopter perspective that the racing line is drying off just a little bit. That might be good for some people, might be bad for others. It's a bit of a question to hold the tire temperatures steady. Or to have the tire temperatures in the proper range, especially when the track starts to dry off a little bit. As far as I know, if the tires overheat too much, they can burst. But you really need to drive with like completely overheated red tires for a long time. Right, Bacek is losing time again. That is him in the pits. We have Knopek in the pits at the moment. And what's happening here with Bacek? That might be a technical problem. I cannot believe that he ran out of fuel or something like that. Yeah. Bacek that had actually gained quite some positions at the beginning of the race, now lost 4 positions. And is now blocking the pit entrance. Oh! Well, what is going on here? Reset to pit. This looks like a technical problem. That looks very much like a technical problem, or yeah, probably ran out of fuel. That would be the most logical explanation. I mean, I was also once stopped in the middle of the track, but that was just my antivirus program opening up in the middle of the race. Oh, that's considered a technical difficulty. Yeah, the gap between Cimini and Cavalieri is the closest. Now we have Whitburn and Cassetarash in the pits. Look at the standing times of the previous people. No, the pit stop time. So the lowest time in pit I can find is 22 seconds. That must have been a drive-through or something like this. Yes. 50 seconds. 50 seconds is the quickest standing time at the moment. So on the left side of your screen, you can see the drivers that have this green little square next to the number, in between their number plate and the gap to the driver in front. The ones that have the green went already to have their pit stops and to get their fuel, and the others haven't. So what we can see now, basically to figure out who's the leader, you can say, okay, Whitburn is the first driver that I can see with the blue, with the green square, and then behind him is Knopek, and then is Cassetarash, and then for now it looks like Veltman is there. But I think that highly depends on when Ivanov is going to come out of the pits, who just entered the pits. Yeah, I think Ivanov is going to come out. Ivanov is going to come out before Assetto even. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Assetto is currently on the top of the hill now, heading down into the section. Ivanov is still standing in the pits. Assetto now into turn 13, the Crocodiles. Ivanov is now driving again and will be leaving the pits now. That Assetto is coming up to the last corner and Ivanov is leaving the pits. Okay, so Ivanov in P3. Now you can actually see it very nicely now on your screen. The three green marked, the greenly marked ones. Assetto in P4. Nico in P5. Stuart Pryor in the pits. Fiore in the pits. No change there. Pacini still has to do basically the leaders of the M category. Of the M. I don't know. Yeah, it should be a category, no? Is that the right word? I'm not actually sure. Still have to pit. They still have to pit. That's what I wanted to say. It has been a long week already, but I'm free tomorrow. Wonderful. Tom Ferrier, 2/10 behind Rogers. So the M driver, Rogers in front. Rogers has not been in the pits, so he might still carry some damage from the collision with the barrier that he had earlier. But Assetto is sniffing the exhaust gases of Scavalieri here. Oh, that's close. That is close racing. Brought to you by Formula Racing League, sponsored by SimGrid Racing. Now on the outside line here, into the last corner, trying to maybe... Scavalieri. I was like, where's Scavalieri? No, he went into the pits. Okay, I see. Tom Ferrier. That's currently the tightest gap. Pavassori with a yellow flag, but maybe also just leaving the pits or entering them. Oh, Panoscia and Pacini are currently in P1 and P2. Interesting. Maybe virtual team Sotto Sterzo taking a bit more fuel for this race, and that's why they're still there. Maybe gambling on drier weather towards the end of the race, which I don't really see coming. We have 20 minutes, roughly 20 minutes of race left. In 10 minutes it's gonna rain more, and in 30 minutes it's gonna rain less again. So the little rainy roller coaster continues. And Whitbird is already catching up to Pacini. Oh, there was a wonderful shot of the Rainbow Sparkles Racing Unicorn. Is that technically considered a tongue twister? Rainbow Sparkles Racing Unicorn. I consider it a tongue twister. For a German, it is a tongue twister. I try again. Rainbow Sparkles Racing Unicorn. Ah! successful. Caceres, speaking of successful, Caceres is also slowly closing the gap to Cimini. Pacini, Cimini and Castelli still not in the pits, even though they are the leaders of the AM category. It's just something worth mentioning. Oh no. Oh no, that was nothing. That was nothing. Pacini now in the pits. Okay. Let's see what Cimini is going to do. If he saw that. Doesn't really have a clean track in front of him, even though Caceres is probably going to drive away anyways. Castelli behind 7 seconds. So let's see what happens. This lap, Cimini is not coming in. See about Castelli. Also Castelli is not pitting. Okay. Yeah, so the last 3 drivers that have not been in the... Oh no, there's one more down here, sorry. Skipping through it for you. Donelli is in the pits, but the last three drivers that are pitting are the pro drivers, the leaders of the AM category, sorry. And Veltman is fighting his way back. At least trying to. 4 positions lost since the beginning of the race. There's some very funny glitch in this on Kyalami. When the camera is panning around like crazy there. And that is Whitburn overtaking Panosha. I wonder how far Panosha must be back, because he has not been in the pits but has been overtaken by Whitburn. So that's should roughly be 50 seconds now if the drivers are standing in the pits for 50 seconds, then Panosha has to be at least 50 seconds behind the leader. So Cimini now in the pit. Could come out behind Pacini. Castelli still not in the pit. After 45 minutes of driving, still not in the pit. I hope he didn't forget that he needs to do a pit stop. That would be a first time for me in this context of racing, of doing the commentary for a race. Panosha also not in the pits yet, and in the moment I'm speaking about it, he is going into the pits. Okay. So then there's only Castelli left, the last driver that has not pitted. But Panosha is coming out. Castelli in the last turn. Pacini also in the last turn. Not Panosha, sorry. Who was I just looking at that was leaving the pits? Oh. Sorry, one of the AM drivers made a mistake in the pit stops. Something went wrong there. So Castelli still needs to pit. Pacini has pitted. It was Cimini. Anyway, Pacini P1, Tom Ferrier P2 at the moment, Migliore in P3, and Castelli still has to pit. Settle that, okay? So... Hey, Donelli. Okay, you retired from the race because you broke the car. No. Yeah, Donelli, I can see you standing here in the pits. Things like that happen. It happened to me too. What was it? I think it was Watkins Glen, isn't it? I think. And for some reason, not even the car switched off, but it was like the clutch was permanently pressed. I think it was one of my first races that I ever did, like the more competitive races, and then suddenly I'm losing all the positions. But we are watching Veltman now, trying to catch up with Panosha. Pacini, the current leader of the AM drivers, also hunting down Castelli. Now maybe let's take a look into the passenger perspective in this uphill section here with Pacini. So we are with the leader of the AM drivers. Castelli in the front still has to go to the pits, but looks like is a bit irritated or a bit nervous already, even though he still has to pit. Off into the gravel goes Castelli, and that seems to solve a kind of anyways non-existent fight between the two, but that could be the chance for Pacini just to go into the pits right now. No, he doesn't. Alright. I hope he didn't forget about the pit stop. Yeah, that's a tough experience. Yeah, but if the engine sign is blinking red, that means you just shut the engine. It happens. It happens. You still have a whole season to catch all the points. So in front, actually, not a lot of things happened. We have Whitburn leading. Nopek that gained one position from P3 into P2. Ivanov that lost one position from P2 to P3. Then we have Kasetarash, who gained 4 positions, and Nico Weltmann, who just lost 1 position, but that means that in the last... When was I looking the last time? I think it was like 10 minutes ago, Weltmann gained 3 positions. So... fighting, still fighting, huh? Oh, there's only this little tiny battle. There's an English word for it. Oh, who was that there? The blue car. A skirmish. Ah, yes, a skirmish between Pisters and Bragg here. Even though they are in different classes, these are the 2 cars that are tightest together at the moment. And Bragg manages to maintain the position, right? Yeah, Donnelly, I know exactly the feeling that you're talking about. You sit there, the server jumps to the race session, and then suddenly you hear the sound of rain in your headphones, and you're like, oh, really? Really? Is this what I practiced for a whole week? To just sit in the rain? And obviously, one tends to practice the dry track way more than the wet track, so different braking points, different feeling of the tires. It is a challenge every time. Lower visibility. The combination of fighting someone, driving very close behind someone, and then not even seeing seeing anything because of all the spray there. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm also I am a fan of this pink AMG livery. I still I like it as well. I mean, my favorite. Okay, I'm going back to Whitburn with the rainbow sparkles racing theme unicorn on the side. I have to say that very slowly. Yeah, I mean, unexpected things happen once in a while, but it kind of looks like... First of all, it looks like Castelli missed his pit stop. It starts to look very much like it, because he has 5 minutes to pit. Pacini is in P1 of the AM drivers, then it should be Tom Ferrier in P2, Migliore in P3. And Castelli is also in the gravel. Let's see what happened there. It seems to be always this uphill section, turn 10. It's a bit tricky. And also damage has been done. Capi made also in the... Also with the yellow flag there. Capi made and Migliore. Yeah, but I think at least it was not really a battle for position. Okay. Castelli heard my call. Castelli heard my call and is heading into the pits. Or maybe it was just because he did some damage. That's also possible. But now the positions are getting clearer and clearer. Pacini P1 for the AM drivers. Ferrier with almost 20 seconds of a gap. In P2 for the AM drivers, Migliore in P3. Only with 1.2 second gap, with 1 second of a gap. So in the next 3.5 minutes, maybe roughly 4 minutes, 5 minutes with another lap. There might still be some changes in the front if there are no major situations happening. Then this should all be fine. And in that moment they decide to almost go 3 wide into turn 1. Oh, this is it's racing, isn't it? Okay, let's have the rising tension here for Migliore catching up with Ferrier. Oh, the battle for P2 in the M category. And kind of looks like it is raining more as well. 2 drivers off here. But that was who's heading into the pits. Muja. That looked like it was Muja that was off track there. So yeah, Ferrier with roughly 1 second of a quicker lap. 2 laps left. Yeah, should be 2 laps left for them. So probably the positions are fixed. Reims is trying to attack Cavalieri. Reims with a hood. That's the word I was looking for. What did I say earlier? I said with a broken motor cover. It's called a hood. It is called a hood. Flashing the lights on the straight, but I still think that he's going to struggle with the downforce. He is struggling with the downforce. We can actually take a look at the statistics. The top speed. There's no real top speed. The quickest top speed obviously is from P1 and P2 with 141 kilometers per hour. Everybody else, for some reason, is a bit slower. Veltman with 238 kilometers per hour is probably the second place in the speed trap. So 1 more lap to go, if I see that correctly, because I think that Whitburn is going to pass the start-finish line before the clock runs out. Yeah, that is 1 more lap. 1 more lap to go for everybody. And that was... I know it. I just thought for a second that it was the quickest lap of the race, but it was not. Oh, that is the last chance for P3 Migliore to maybe catch up to Ferrier. So now, if no mistakes happen, I am going to jump back to Whitburn. Actually, sorry, I was wrong. I should stay with Migliore because they are in front of the leader. And now we are going to jump to the leader, Matt Whitburn, for Rainbow Sparkles Racing is going to win the first race of the fourth season of Masters of Assetto Corsa Competizione, sponsored by SimGrid Racing, organized by Formula Racing League on SimGrid. Always feel free to join there. So that is Whitburn for P1, Thomas Knoppik coming in for P2. Then we have Ivanov now in the last corner. And then it's Cassetta Rush, but maybe before Cassetta Rush, and then should be already our M drivers coming in. There's still, yeah, there's Cassetta Rush, P4 of the pro drivers, passing the start-finish line. Then Nico Veltman, after quite a fight this race, 1 position loss overall. Very good job. Panoscia crossing the start-finish line. The finish line. It's not a start-finish line this time. It's certainly a finish line. Panoscia. Then we have the winner of the M driver, Federico Pacini. Then Tom Ferrier for Tatsu Racing. Very close behind him. We have Alfonso Migliore, P3 for the M drivers. And I think those are the last 2 that are crossing the finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure to be the commentator for today. I had a lot of fun. I hope you also had some fun. Come join us next week on the next track. I'm sorry. I will have to check again what it is. I think I said it in the beginning of the stream already. Next week we are going to be on Silverstone for 1 hour. Join us back there. Thank you very much for watching. Like the stream, share the stream if you feel like it, and see you next week around exactly the same time on Silverstone. Have a good evening.